Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here, and welcome back to another Bitcoin technical analysis. And Bitcoin is getting ready for a huge move. Now, inside this falling channel that we've talked about so often on this channel is a smaller symmetrical triangle or even a pennant forming on the 4-hour time scale. So today what I wanted to do is talk about what this pennant means, whether we can classify this as either a bull or a bear flag, and where I think Bitcoin's going to go from here, as well as why I think a huge move is incoming. So if you guys are interested, go and stick around for the video, and do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel a lot. That being said, let's go ahead and dive on into this. So of course guys, I've discussed this falling channel many times before on the channel. It's very plain and simple and you can see it very easily, but this pennant is what has been forming very cleanly on this chart, and it's something that I am taking note of here. So on this chart, we are on the 4-hour chart of US dollar, or excuse me, Bitcoin on the Coinbase exchange. We can see that this now has, let's go ahead and highlight this. We can now see the first touch point, and then our second touch point, and now our third touch point and rejection over here. One of the biggest takeaways from this top rejection is the fact that we saw this massive wick come all the way up, and really in two 4-hour candles we saw Bitcoin go from around $9,900 all the way up to around $10,000 and almost $700. So this was definitely a massive spike in price that it had. However, almost the entire candle body was selling off here. Over half of the candle itself actually turned into a wick because it sold off. And so what you have is all of this buying pressure actually turning into a lot of selling pressure, and it wasn't able to sustain these levels because there was just so much selling pressure in this area. So yes, this is a pennant with a actual piercing candle towards the upside, which leads me to believe that this is going to go towards the downside. In addition to why I think that this is going to break downwards is the fact that this is its third lower swing high over here, and it's not forming higher lows. I mean, we're not forming a pennant over here. It's lower swing high, lower swing low, and that's one of the kind of the names of the games over here. So since this is in a short-term downtrend, again, the macro is still in an uptrend, but since this is in a short-term downtrend for the time being, and again, this is a breakdown then a pennant forming, this does lead me to believe that it's actually going to be more of a bull, or more of a bearish flag than a bullish flag scenario. So while pennants and symmetrical triangles are relatively neutral formation and continuation patterns, they are, they can lean one way towards another, and I've talked about this on the channel as well. But for me, this is going to be one of those situations where this is a neutral formation that's actually leaning more towards the bearish side than towards the bullish side, just because the trend is your friend and the flow of this market is definitely towards the downside right now, as we can see from this overall falling channel that we have on Bitcoin. So with this happening, why do I think that there's going to be a huge move? Well, I don't know if you guys have been following traditionals in any way, but like the stock market, like NASDAQ, ES, Dow Jones, things like that, and then even looking at precious metals. I mean, precious metals have seen a sharp rise in price recently when stocks and mainly indexes have started seeing a sharp downturn recently. So what this has me to believe is that Bitcoin could very well follow gold here and actually possibly contradict all of this and head back up towards resistance. Now, if this isn't the case, if it doesn't want to follow gold here, if it wants to be following technicals, I do believe that it would actually be heading down. Again, rejection from the EMAs over in here, rejection from this resistance line, rejection from overbearing resistance line over in here, and of course the death cross on the 4-hour, all would be ideally making me believe that this is going to go downwards. Over here on the MACD, really not much divergence at all. Over here on the RSI, again, sitting extremely neutral. We can see that a squeeze is obviously happening. Excuse me, because what we can see is these higher swing lows and lower swings highs happening on the relative strength index, signifying to me that this guy definitely is looking at some sort of squeeze in one way or another, and that this is going to kind of just be a momentum pop whenever this does happen. Now, I am leaning towards the downside. I think the only saving grace here that could save Bitcoin in the short term is the fact that if it wants to follow gold, like it kind of has done in the past year or so, it could actually see a nice breakout towards the upside. If it doesn't want to do that, if this technical levels are just so strong and technical resistance is too big, then it's definitely probably going to come down to at least the $9,100, $9,200 area, in my opinion. Now again, this isn't legal, financial, or tax advice in any way. This is just simply my opinion, but this is what I'm looking at for Bitcoin in the short to midterm area, and then of course the long term obviously being bullish and eventually a breakout of this awesome massive falling channel, otherwise known as a giant bull flag on Bitcoin. So eventually a breakout of this, but the short term I can't help but see this as a bearish pennant just because of everything happening over in here. Squeeze is looking towards the downside right now. So it's one of those things where a huge move could be coming in Bitcoin. And I say huge with, I say, it's all relative. What do you think is huge? Well, for me, $1,000 move on Bitcoin right here would be a relatively huge move in the comparison of what we've had over in here. We have had some larger candles recently, but I think $1,000 towards the downside, or maybe even more. I mean, if it breaks this support, then it could definitely fall even more from there. But we're gonna kind of have to see where this plays out from here. So let me know your guys' thoughts on this. I just wanted to give an update video, kind of talking about why I think the price is squeezing and where this could go. So if you guys did enjoy the video, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you guys see this as a bullish squeeze or a bearish squeeze? Again, let me know in the comment section down below. I will be responding to your guys' comments, and I will see you guys in the next video.